welcome to National Service Training Program 2 or NSTP2. So for this morning, we will continue our discussion for the final term, and we will start the topic about safety education. So what is safety education? So in safety education, it enables the students to keep themselves safe and to contribute to keeping others safe. It helps them be aware of possible hazards in different areas of their lives and be able to take appropriate decisions and actions. So from the term itself, safety education. So tawag dito, in safety education, ayan, matututunan natin kung paano ba natin maiaalis yung sarili natin sa mga dangerous situation, kung paano tayo magte-take ng precautions. So ano yung mga actions na kailangan natin gawin when we are in the situations na kung saan it's a matter of life and death, something like that, di ba? So ayan, and then also in safety education, nakaka-contribute nga daw tayo para hindi lang mailigtas yung sarili natin in different situation, but also to keep others safe as well in different hazardous situations. So ayan yung tinatawag natin na safety education. So ano nga daw ba ma-achieve natin dito sa safety education na ito? Ayan, safety education can enable students and young people and their parents or guardians to put effective safety measures into practice. For example, fitting smoke alarms and rehearsing escape routes can save lives in fires. So, ayun yung ma-achieve natin sa safety education. Ayan, magiging alam natin yung gagawin natin, paano natin isi-safety yung mga sarili natin in case of different dangerous situations. Hindi lang yung sarili natin, but also on how we will save others, lalo na kapag nandoon sa mga different situations like fire, earthquake, at iba-iba pang mga hazardous situations. So yan yung ma-achieve natin dito sa safety education na ito. But before tayo mag-proceed, let us define first some terminologies para mas madali nating maiintindihan kung ano ba itong safety education na ito. So first, let us define what is safety. So it is a condition which gives you freedom from hazard, risk, accident, which may cause injury, damage, and loss to material or property damage and even death. So when we say safety, yan, we are putting ourselves into safe against any hazardous situations or risk. Yan, it could be an accident, yan, that could damage nga daw or may cause injury or damage and loss to material or property damage and even death. So when we say safety, yan, nililigtas natin yung sarili natin into different hazardous situation. And then next naman, what is accident? So accident, it is an unexpected or unplanned event which may or may not result in injury or damage or property loss or death. So accident, yan, minsan kadalasan pag may nangyayari, sinasabi aksidente nangyari, hindi sinasadya. So yun, pag sinabi nating accident, yan, hindi nga daw to expected. Syempre, higit sa lahat hindi pinlano. Maliban na lang kung frame up, di ba? Yan. So accident, ayan, something or event na kung saan hindi naman expected yung nangyari. Okay? Or hindi naman pinaplano na mangyayari yon. Okay? Parang unexpected event yan. Yan nga daw siya, di ba? Kapag sinabi nating accident. So when we say accident, it could result nga daw into damage or something like injury yan. But there are some accident as well na hindi naman nai-injure yung person involved but nagkakaroon ng damage or property loss. 'Di ba? May mga cases, 'di ba, na nagkakaroon ng accidents like sabi natin motor accident or vehicular accident na kung saan nagkaroon ng damage into property like yung mga sasakyan or yung vehicle na involved but yung person involved is safe naman. hindi naman siya nagkaroon ng damage or any injury. So when we say accident, not all accident naman is merong nagko-cause ng injury dun sa person involved. Okay? Some cases property damage lang. Okay? So that is accident. Now let's proceed with what is injury. So it is defined as a harmful condition sustained by the body as a result of an accident. So injury, ito yung nakukuha from any accident. Ayan. So sinasabing harmful condition. Harmful condition siya na ito yung nakuha or naging effect or naging cause ng naging effect ng accident na maaaring nakuha galing sa accident kaya nagkaroon ng injury. And now, what is hazard? Hazard, it is an inherent property of a substance or an occurrence which has potential to cause loss or damage property, person, or environment. Bago ko ipaliwanag yan, meron pa ako isang babasahin na definition. What is risk? So, improbability of the realization of potential for loss or damage of or injury. Now, the question is, what is the difference between hazard and risk? Are they the same or not? Ano ba sa tingin ninyo? Parehas ba kapag sinabi nating hazard and risk o magkaiba? Any idea? Sige, i-define natin ano ba pinagkaiba ng hazard and risk. First, yan. When we say hazard, it is anything that can cause harm like chemical, electricity, ladders, etc. So, yun daw kapag sinabi nating hazard. And then, yung risk naman daw, yan, defined as how great the chance that someone will be harmed by the hazard. So, when we say hazard, hindi siya situation or it refers doon daw sa anything. It could be a property, substance, material that could cause harm to any person. So, yun yung sinasabi nating hazard. So, yung risk naman daw is yung chances na ma-harm ka or ma-put in danger ka due to that hazardous material, thing, or property. So, another definition para mas maintindihan pa natin yung difference between hazard and risk. So, a hazard is something that has the potential to harm you. And risk is the likelihood of a hazard causing harm. So, ayan, mas naintindihan na ba? When we say hazard, ito nga daw is yung something. So, when we say something, it refers nga daw to it could be a material, it could be a substance, yan, di ba? That has a potential to harm you, okay? And then yung risk is the likelihood of a hazard causing harm. So, ayun na nga daw yung chances na mapahamak tayo due to that hazardous material. So, yun daw yung risk. Another, ayan. So, hazard, something that can potentially cause harm, and risk, ayan, nagiging risky lang daw ang isang bagay when we are exposed doon sa hazardous material or thing or any substance na iyon. So, yun daw yung risk kapag meron tayong exposure sa hazard. Okay? So, ayan. And last, para mas madali nating maintindihan, yan, hazard refers to a source of a potential harm or danger. And risk refers to the possibility that harm or injury might occur when exposed to a hazard. So, yun nga, tulad ng huling definition or huling picture na pinakita ko, yung may exposure plus hazard. So, yun nga daw yung risk. So, another, when we say hazard, different elements such as chemicals, excessive noise, fuels, electricity, etc. act as hazards in a workplace. So, ayun nga. And then, risk is the possibility of getting harmed after being exposed to chemicals, noise, fumes, etc. And lastly, when we say hazard, may remain the same even if the risk is minimized. And risk, it is important to identify the hazard, the potential harm it can cause in order to eliminate risk. So, kahit na i-minimize nga daw natin ng risk, pagdating sa hazard, hazardous pa rin yan. But, doon sa risk naman, kailangan lang natin malaman yung cause na maaaring idulot ng isang hazardous material na yon para ma-avoid yung or para ma-lessen yung risk. Okay? So, yan po. Mas naintindihan na ngayon yung difference between the hazard and a risk. Okay? Now, another term to define, what is incident? So, it is an event which represents deviation from the intended sequence of designed steps. So, incident, yan, it refers to an event. So, yung binanggit natin kanina na accident, it is an incident. But not all accident and not all incident refers to accident. So, maraming events na maaaring ma-consider natin as incident. Okay? So, wag po malilito between the incident and accident. Okay? So, now, before tayo mag-proceed with the next topic, I will let you watch this first.
Okay.
May audio po ba?
We got her breathing.
May audio? May audio yung video? May narinig kayong audio nun?
Meron.
Meron? Meron?
Meron po.
Opo, sir.
Okay, okay. Sige, play ko. Diretso ko na yung video. Play ko na. Ayan. So, napanood po ba? Ayan. Ano yung nakita ninyo sa video? Anyone?
Sir, yung sa may video, sir, yung bata ko hindi makahinga. Tapos
Okay,
ginawa
so
ng mga pulis.
Anong ginawa ng pulis?
Yung ano, sir, yung parang may alam sila sa ano, sir, step kung paano makakahinga yung bata, sir. Parang gumawa sila ng ano, first aid siguro, sir, ganun.
Okay, correct. So what the police did is they did the first aid. So now let's proceed with the topic about first aid. So ano nga ba itong first aid nito? So let us define. So sabi, it is the initial process of assessing and addressing the needs of someone who is experiencing medical emergencies. So ayan, when we say first aid, yan, kung in Tagalog, diba, paunang lunas, yan. So, ito nga daw yung process kung saan ina-address natin yung pangangailangan ng tao na merong medical emergency needs, okay? So, like in the video, yun, merong emergency need yung baby na nasa video, 'di ba? So, ang nag-perform ng first aid is yung police na kung saan in-address niya yung need na kung saan parang medyo hirap yata huminga yung bata, 'di ba? And pinerform noong police yung first aid. Okay? Na kung saan in-address nga yung pangangailangan or yung medical emergency. And then, next is, it allows a non-medical expert to quickly determine a person's physical condition and course of treatment. So, it allows a non-medical expert. So, di ba kung nakita ninyo sa video, di ba, hindi naman nurse, hindi naman doktor yung nag-perform ng first aid. So, anyone could perform first aid as long as may knowledge, may alam pagdating sa pagpa-first aid. Hindi naman tayo, lahat naman tayo allowed mag-first aid as long as may alam tayo pagdating sa pagpa-first aid. Kaya meron tayo may mga seminars nga pagdating dyan sa pagpa-first aid, di ba? So, hindi naman basta-basta na mag-conduct tayo ng pagpa-first aid lalo na kung wala tayong alam. But anyone could perform as long as may alam. Okay? So, either nasa medical field ka or may alam ka pagdating sa mga medical mga ganyan na pagpa-perform ng mga ganyang situations. So, whether medical expert or not, pwede mag-first aid as long as may alam. And then next, it can make a difference to a person's recovery and could save their life. So, ayan, yan yung importance ng first aid. Kasi, pwedeng maisalba yung mga nasa taong in danger o yung mga taong nasa dangerous situation. Lalo na kapag may nasa area na kung saan malayo sa ospital, ganyan, di ba? Tapos may unexpected incident or sabihin natin may accident, ganyan, or any situation na kung saan walang medical expert na kasama. So, through first aid, maaari pang mailigtas yung mga tao na nasa alanganin. Okay? So, yan yung maitutulong ng first aid. So, now, what is the purpose of first aid? So, first is to sustain life. Yan. So, habang naghihintay tayo ng medical expert na mag-a-attend sa medical need ng tao, so, nandiyan dyan ang pagpa-first aid natin para ma-sustain nga daw yung buhay. And then, to prevent suffering. So, once na merong accident or any incident na nangangailangan ng medical need, ayan, so, nandiyan dyan ang first aid para mabawasan yung yung paghihirap ba or yung sakit na iniinda noong person involved in an accident or any na nasa dangerous situation. Next is to prevent secondary complications. So, through first aiding yan, mas maiwasan na magkaroon pa ng additional complications yung na sabi nating injury yan or any accident, 'di ba? So, by first aid, maiiwasan din yon. And also to promote speedy recovery. So, mas mapabilis din ang paggaling through first aid. Dahil nga, maiwasan na rin yung paglala. Okay? So, do's and don'ts when performing first aid. So, do's, before handling the casualty, use mask, gloves, head cover, or apron. So, wag basta-basta magpa-perform daw ng first aid nang wala yan. So, as much as possible, meron dapat yung mga yan. And then, don'ts, as first aider, you can never prescribe medicine. Wag na wag ka na prescribe ng medicine when performing first aid. Una't higit sa lahat, di ba nga, hindi naman tayo medical expert. So, only medical experts can prescribe medicine. And also, as first aider, you cannot or you are not able or you can never declare death. Kaya nga minsan, di ba, in an accident, though walang malay, maabutang walang malay yung person involved, dinadala pa rin sa ospital. Okay? Then kapag nasa ospital na, doon, mga medical experts or mga doktor ang makakapag-declare kung patay na ba talaga yung person involved or not. Okay? So, baka mamaya, may makita kayo na nasa daan, tapos sakitan ninyo, walang malay. Tapos sasabihin nyo, patay na agad. Wag ganon, okay? So, as first aider, you can never declare death. Okay? So, now let's proceed with the principles of first aid. So, we have these 4 C's. Yan. First is call for help. So, as a first aider, yan, after mo mag-attend or after mong i-perform yung first aid do sa person involved, you need to call for help. So, ayan. O kaya naman, not sure ha, kung bago mo ba i-perform ang first aid, tsaka tawag ka ng tulong, o after mo ma-perform yung first aid, tsaka ka tatawag ng tulong. And then, ayan, maaaring doon sa tatawag mo na ng tulong para habang hinihintay mo siya, pine-perform mo na yung first aid, di ba? So, habang hinihintay mo na pe-perform mo na yung first aid, then hintay mo na lang din na dumating yung tulong. And then next is calmly take charge. So, ayan, syempre, kalmado lang, baka mamaya nakakita ka lang ng dugo, kabadong-kabado ka na agad, 'di ba? Or natataranta ka na agad, 'di ba? So, wag ganon, okay? Baka lalo ring lumala yung sitwasyon nung if-first aid mo, 'di ba? So, kalmado lang dapat. And then next is check the scene and the casualty. So, tingnan muna kung yung situation, okay? Baka mamaya kasi parang baka konting galaw mo lang dyan may ibang mangyari or mas lalong mapahamak, di ba? Yung person involved. And then carefully apply the first aid. Ayun. So una pa lang muna is tatawag ka ng tulong. Then sumunod is take charge. Then bago mo i-perform ang first aid is check the scene and the casualty. Okay? Baka may hindi tayo nakikita in the area na may other persons pa pala, okay, na nasa ibang area, or baka kung sino yung mas malala ang situation. And then carefully apply the first aid. And now let's proceed with the action plan. Yan. First is assess the situation. So tingnan muna yung situation. Then next is safety yourself and the casualty. Yan, maaaring involved din kayo doon sa isang incident. At kung nakikita ninyo na merong mas nangangailangan ng tulong, syempre unahin yung mas nangangailangan. And then assess the casualty. Tingnan kung yung mga affected or mga persons involved safe pa ba? Humihinga pa ba? Sino yung mas nangangailangan? Then treat the casualty. Ayan. When we say treat the casualty, yan, perform mo na yung first aid na alam mo. And then next is arrange the removal of the casualty to hospital or safe area. Yan, ito na yung pag-call for a help, like pagtawag sa hospital or police yan. And then next is write a report or communicate the status. So, communicate the status. So, syempre, kapag na-perform mo na yung first aid, at dumating yung tulong or yung ambulance or any doctor, i-communicate sa kanila kung ano na yung nagawa mo as a first aider doon sa person involved in an incident or an accident. Okay? And now, responsibility of a first aider. So, first is to assess the situation quickly and safety and call for appropriate help. So, ayan, para tulad din doon kanina sa action plan, yan. Responsibility mo as a first aider na tingnan mo na yung sitwasyon, and then once na nakita mo na, tumawag ka na ng tulong. Next is identify the level of injury or the nature of illness affecting the casualty or the victim. So, tingnan kung gaano kalala yung nakuhang injury ng casualty or noong victim. And then give early and appropriate treatment in a sensible order of priority. And last is make and pass a report or give a further help if it is required. So, katulad din halos doon sa action plan, yan, nandiyan din ang inyong responsibility as a first aider. Now, let's proceed with the basic life-saving skills. So, ano ba itong mga basic life-saving skills? So, in this topic, we have 3 sa basic life-saving skills. So, una na natin dyan yung mouth-to-mouth resuscitation. Hindi po mouth-to-mouth resuscitation. mouth-to-mouth resuscitation. Ayan. So this is a life-saving measure for a person who has stopped breathing. So saan ba madalas natin makikita or kanino ba madalas na ina-apply itong mouth-to-mouth resuscitation na ito? So kadalasan na-encounter natin yan or na-i-apply yan lalo na kapag mayroong mga incident ng pagkalunod, 'di ba? Ito ang unang-una na paunang lunas sa binibigay sa mga tao na niligtas mula sa pagkakalunod, 'di ba? Lalo na kung walang malay, 'di ba? Yan agad ang unang paunang lunas sa binibigay natin, yung mouth-to-mouth resuscitation. So, ano naman ang dapat na gawin as a first aider? Yan. So, first is lay the person face up on a firm surface. Siyempre, ihiga mo muna siya. Siyempre, wag mo idadapa. Paano mo i-perform yung mouth-to-mouth resuscitation kung nakadapa yan, di ba? So, kailangan nakahiga yan, okay? And then, support his neck and tilt his head back to straighten the airway. Okay? So, idediretso mo yung katawan noong victim. And then open his mouth and remove any blockage, including Dale's teeth, with your finger. So ibubuka mo yung bunganga noong victim. And then pinch his nose shut. Hawakan yung ilong or isasarado yung ilong. Gagano'n nyo yan. Parang ganyan. Ipitin, ganon. And then take a deep breath. Seal your mouth over his mouth. And then blow strongly into his mouth 4 times in quick succession while checking if his chest rises. And then continue to blow strongly and steadily once every 5 seconds. So, 12 times a minute daw yun ginagawa. Okay? So, ayan. As simple as that. With that mouth-to-mouth resuscitation, pwedeng ma-save yung person in danger, di ba? So, ayun po ha. Baka iba ang gawin ninyo sa mouth-to-mouth resuscitation ha. Yan po ang proper na pag-perform ng mouth-to-mouth resuscitation. Now, bago tayo mag-proceed with the next basic life-saving skill, panoorin mo na to. Are you familiar with this? Are you familiar with this? O sige. Play mo na natin. Ulitin natin. Ginagawa mo. O ano yon? Ano yung ginawa nun? Anong ginagawa nun nung nasa video? Anyone? Anyone na nakakaalam nung ginawa nung nasa video? Meron ba nakakaalam? So, supposedly, dapat yung nasa video na iyan, yun yung tinatawag natin na CPR or cardiopulmonary resuscitation. So, ano ba kapag sinabi natin cardiopulmonary resuscitation? So, this is a life-saving measure for a person whose heart has stopped. CPR is a combination of external heart massage and mouth-to-mouth resuscitation. CPR is best used only if you have been trained to do so by a qualified instructor, or you may do more harm than good. Okay? So, yung pag-perform nga daw ng CPR, ayan, para din siyang combination nga daw siya na external heart massage and mouth-to-mouth resuscitation. Okay? So, but ang kinaibahan lang nito sa mouth-to-mouth resuscitation, ayan, mas effective nga lang daw tong i-perform itong CPR na ito kung ikaw nga daw ay trained sa pag-perform nito. Hindi tulad no nasa video na balikat ang gumagalaw. Ano? Sa pag-perform ng CPR. Okay? So, this is also a life-saving measure din. Okay? Na nag-stop nga daw yung pagtibok ng puso ng tao, no? Okay? Yung hindi na humihinga. Ayan. So, 'di ba minsan yan, pupwede rin yung kapag ginagamit rin itong CPR doon sa mga cases, mga incidents na may mga nalulunod, 'di ba? Pero mas better na i-perform ito kung well-trained tayo na mag-perform ng CPR. Unlike noong mouth-to-mouth resuscitation, as simple as that, madali nating i-perform. Okay? So, pwedeng, yun yung mas madaling gawin. Okay? But yung CPR, hindi siya basta-bastang ginagawa. Kasi nga, yung pag-perform natin ng CPR, maaaring mas lalo pang lumala yung sitwasyon ng tao kung pe-perform natin to nang hindi naman tayo well-trained. 'Di ba? Okay. So, mas mainam na i-perform natin to kung well-trained tayo sa pag-perform noon. Okay? So, yan po yung CPR. So, as a first aider, ano naman yung ating gagawin? So, first is call emergency service. Next is open up airways by laying the person on their back. Yan. Bago mo i-perform yun, siyempre tawag ka muna ng tulong para habang pine-perform mo yung first aid mo, pagpa-first aid doon, yan, paparating na yung tulong. Kasi hindi naman pang matagalan yung first aid eh. Paunang lunas lang yan. Okay? And then, next is, if they are not breathing, begin CPR. Yan. Give 30 chest compression. Yan. So, yung 30 chest compression ha, hindi siya basta-basta, hindi siya tulad doon sa video. Ano? So, wag pong ganon. Okay? Baka mas lalong mapahamak yung pine-first aid natin. And fifth is give 2 rescue breaths, which is yung mouth-to-mouth resuscitation. And then, last is repeat until an ambulance arrives. So, ulit-ulitin lang daw iyon. Maaring through that, ma-recover natin yung victim. Mas maisalba natin yung victim habang hinihintay na dumating yung tulong or yung ambulance. Okay? And then, next is the recovery position. So, this is a safe position for an unconscious person which allows easy breathing and prevents choking on his own vomitus. Put a person in this position only if you do not suspect back injury and have checked that he is breathing normally. So, itong recovery position, ginagawa nga daw doon sa mga tao na parang walang malay. Okay? Okay. And then, ayan, yan nga daw yung perform natin kapag, and then i-clear din yung airways, yan. So, paano nga ba ito i-perform? So, as first aider, what you can do? First is place the arm closest to your right, tulad na nakikita ninyo sa image. Second is cross the arm over the casualty's body and hold the back of his hand against his cheek nearest to you. And then grasp the far leg above the knee and pull it up so the knee is bent. And lastly is pull the legs towards you so the casualty is now lying on his side facing towards you. Make sure the casualty's airway is open and check his breathing regularly until emergency help arrives. Okay, so yan yung recovery position. So yun again, yung tatlong basic life-saving skills. First is the mouth-to-mouth resuscitation. Second is the CPR or the cardiopulmonary resuscitation. And lastly is the recovery position. So yan yung mga basic life-saving skills na part na pwede nating i-perform as first aiding. Okay? So, ayan po. Okay? So, yan ang part ng ating safety education. And that ends our module for week number 13.